This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week. It's Rutland Radio breakfast time. I'm Rob Pisani. Now, Gravity Fields returns, celebrating the legacy that Isaac Newton gave us with all kinds of artistic performances, including some theatrical contemporary ballet this Thursday at Stamford Arts Centre. Artistic directors Paul Chantry and Ray Piper join us this morning. Now, the evening starts with a performance from the Rutland School of Dancing.
That's correct. Yes, they're taking part in a curtain raiser where some of the students have been selected from a nationwide competition, which is called the Young Choreographers Celebration. So we're delighted to have them perform in a curtain raiser for us.
Have you been working directly with them?
No, not at all. What we did was we threw out the challenge to say, if you want to create a piece of your own choreography, so your teacher's not allowed to help you, it's got to all come from the dance students. We gave them a theme. We said it would have to be either on the theme of card games or on the theme of the universe. Then we would come and adjudicate their entries and select some winners from there. So basically, the dance students, they totally had to do it all by themselves. So it's a big challenge for them.
Yeah, very much so. The Rutland School of Dancing is actually the group who've done this. So, I mean, really, as far as ballet in our area, they do lead all the teaching of the young students. So great to have them opening your show. Tell us about the main show that people are going to be treated to if they come along.
Well, the first piece that they're going to see is the Stack Deck, and this is a new piece that the company has created. And the idea of it is based on the idea of card games and the theme of equality. We have 4 dancers in it who are all really desperate, obviously, to win the games that they're being put into. And then each time that a new hand is dealt, all the players are given different scenarios to face, and then the choice becomes, how do they use their hand to help them win the prize or how they help others. And then the second piece, Ulysses Unbound, that one's based on the idea of an astronaut who's just leaving a dying Earth in search of a new home. And then on his way, he meets really amazing characters. He meets some aliens, which I won't speak too much about because we want it all to be a big surprise for people. He sees the birth of a star. He gets nearly sucked into the black hole. So very different to the first piece. But I think there's something there for everybody. And
obviously that ties in nicely with the whole Gravity Fields concept, having an astronaut actually and basing a ballet around that.
Yeah, absolutely. We've taken great care over the science that's involved in both of the pieces. So in Ulysses, we researched into, very posh words, stellar evolution. So now we could tell you all about the life cycle of a star.
Wow.
We'll not tell you it, show you it.
We'll show
yes,
you it,
absolutely.
Yes. And we actually really sort of researched the idea of how particles in space move in relation to black holes, and we tried to capture that with the choreography. So it's all been sort of very thought through, and in the Stack Deck as well, we researched into game theory. So we've included some sort of mathematical principles, again, within the choreography. Now, that doesn't mean that, of course, that the audience has to know about these kind of slightly obscure mathematical principles. I mean, for some people, obviously, they're not obscure, but we didn't know much about them before we started, because we've tried to just take the important elements and turn them into something really theatrical and exciting and terribly dramatic. I mean, got aliens running around. You couldn't want for more drama.
Is this something unique, actually, for the festival?
Yes, so we collaborated with Gravity Fields to come up with these concepts, because what Chantry Dance Company does is each year we produce an annual tour. And we actually spoke with Gravity Fields before we started planning this year's tour, and they said how much that they would like us to be involved, and we obviously really want to be involved because it's a fantastic festival. So we decided to make all of our touring work this year basically around concepts that would fit in with the Gravity Fields theme.
Excellent stuff. This Thursday at Stamford Arts Centre, and so we mentioned the Rutland School of Dancing do the opening performance as well, and Paul Chantry and Ray Piper, artistic directors of the Chantry Dance Company. Thanks very much for joining us on Rutland Radio today.
Thank you.
This is Rutland Radio.
Very nervous, quite terrified.
And how's the training been going?
It's been going well. They keep assuring me that the training is the hardest bit and that I'm now really ready to go. So I'm hoping that really was the hardest. But I'm in Scotland and there's quite a lot of hills between me and the south.
Have you always been a mad keen cyclist? Why did you decide to take on this challenge?
No, I hadn't ever been on a road bike before. Well, I was asked to take on a challenge in support of the Diamond Appeal for the Duke of Edinburgh's award. I mean, why cycling? It's a very good question. It was part of another idea that I came up with, which was going from Scotland down to the south, but I wanted to involve kayaking and walking and sailing as well. But it got very complicated, so I thought keep it simple and decided cycling was probably the best thing to do.
I understand that the training hasn't always gone to plan. It's been a little bit difficult. You've had a few falls along the way.
There have been a few thrills and spills, not just by me, I hasten to add, but yes, I think the first one was within 10 feet of the car when I put the cleats on for the first time and came straight off again, because you suddenly realise that you can't move your feet out of the pedals. We met with the wrong end of a plank as well, and there's been various corners where one or other of us have not been able to uncleat in time and have ended up in hedges or unfortunately down on the road, and that's where it really hurts.
But you've got a team around you, haven't you? There's going to be 7 of you, so you're going to be quite well protected from any traffic and things like that?
Yes, as much as possible, but of course at the end of the day there will be places that we have to string out a bit, and actually, to be honest with you, on the hills it's pretty much every man for themselves. You can't necessarily stay together, and one person's pace will be quicker than somebody else's, so I hope that people will go far enough around us. That would be nice.
You're doing this for the Duke of Edinburgh Award. We can see Prince Philip behind us here. He set up DofE 60 years ago. Sometimes there's a perception that it's just something that happens in public schools, it's just about a bit of orienteering and expeditions, but it's come a long way, hasn't it?
Well, it's about so much more than that. It's open to all young people over the age of 14, between 14 and 25. It's about skills, it's about sport, it's about community service. The most high-profile bit, of course, is the orienteering and the adventurous journey. In the early days, yes, I mean, the award was being delivered through the public school system. It was the easiest way to get it out there. But to be honest with you, it is now in more state schools than it is in public schools. Youth groups, anywhere where there's a young person, the award is active, and the whole thing about the appeal is to raise funds so that the work that's being done and has been done for a long, long time with young people who are at risk or they're vulnerable or disadvantaged in some way, that it'll be more open to them as well, and that's the big push and drive for the Diamond Appeal.
And talking about your own family, what has been their response to this challenge? In particular, Prince Philip himself. Has he had a few words of wisdom for you?
You're mad, I think, was probably his first response. But since then, we've spent time up in Scotland on holiday with Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh, and they've watched me out there every day. I think, he's pleased that I'm supporting his charity, and they know why I'm doing it. But yes, probably slightly mad as well. It helps.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
It's Rutland Radio breakfast time. I'm Rob Pisani. Outside here at the Rutland Farm Park, which is reopening this Saturday in aid of charity. I'm here with Julie Ball. Now, Julie, tell us a short history of the farm park, because, it's not been open for some years now.
The farm park opened in 1979 by my late father-in-law and mother-in-law. Their idea was very much to preserve the rare breeds and to educate school children and the general public about the animals, looking after livestock and the history of how farming has developed.
Now, people who, say, moved to Oakham over the last 15 years probably wouldn't even have a clue that this is here.
No, sadly it was closed in 2001 when we had the last foot-and-mouth outbreak. DEFRA, who the government body, insisted that everybody close down to try and stop the spread of foot and mouth. Then father and mother-in-law retired. Clive went off to work doing ground control. I went back into education. And then father-in-law died 4 years ago. And we are now trying to get the farm park up and running. We've got 2 options really. 1, sell it for a housing estate, or 2, try and do what we really want to do and get the farm park up and running, get the rare breeds back in and get the public to have a look at all the rare breeds and experience a bit of countryside in the middle of the town.
Now, this was actually part of the local estate, as was the council offices.
Yes, it belongs to the Noel estate, so we are 19 acres of parkland of the Noel estate. So we have lots of unusual flora and fauna that was brought back by the Victorians. We have the lovely stream running down the bottom, which is all paved at the bottom, which was part of the ornamental gardens. And we have some lovely woodland down the bottom that we can't get to at the moment, but hopefully next summer that will be up and running and you'll be able to see all the different trees and vegetation and have a potter down by the stream and go through the woods and go into what will eventually be Llama Armadale, where you'll be able to meet Cecil, Nora and Phoebe, our wonderful llamas.
Every single animal here has a name, does it? Because, I mean, I've just gone on a tour and we've seen everything from the alpacas to the pigs to the chickens.
Every rare breed animal has to have a name for registration purposes. All the cattle have names. The cattle don't need names, but they all have their own travelling passports. But yes, we like to give everything names. It makes it a little bit more personal.
So this Saturday from 11:30 through until 4, people can come along and experience this. So what's in store for this Saturday?
We are raising money for Bloodwise, which is the UK specialist charity raising money to fight blood cancer. We're holding it in memory of Richard Brocklehurst, Amy's fiancé, who sadly lost his battle to lymphoma 3 years ago. So you can come and meet all the animals. You can come and see Tom the Shire Horse, come and meet Ben and Barnaby the goats, come and see all the different chickens. We've got lots of stalls for you to spend some money on. We've got a lovely tombola, we've got raffle, we've got cake stall, we've got bouncy castle, we've got the play area for the children. We've got a refreshment van coming in where you'll be able to get your hot drinks, your burgers, your sausages, all lovely locally produced meat. And we've got an ice cream van coming as well. So even if it's raining, you can still have your 99s. We're going to set up a little track for the pedal tractors for the younger children to ride on. We're going to have Name the New Donkey Foal. He's the only one that's not named at the moment because he's only 5 weeks old and we need a name. We've got Name the Teddy Bear, lots and lots of things. So just come down and join us. Come in, see the start of the regeneration of the Rutland Farm Park and tell us what you'd like to see here when we reopen and raise a bit of money for a really worthwhile charity.
And people will be able to head in from the council side as well on Saturday.
Yes, everybody's be coming in on foot from the council. So if you've got to come in a car, you can park at the council offices. There's also parking over in the museum car park. And then everybody will be walking through the car park at the council offices straight into the paddock where we'll be having all the fun and games and excitement.
And is there a charge for people to come in?
No, there's no charge to come in. We're just hoping that you'll spend lots of money on all the attractions and donate what you can for a really worthwhile cause in memory of a really super guy.
Are you really excited about the fact that actually you can get this back to how it was?
Oh, I'm so excited. You don't know the sleepless nights we've had trying to get things planned and sorted, and you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and remember silly little things that need doing and sorting out. But yes, we are so excited to get it up and running again, and it'll be lovely to see the public back in, and it'll be lovely to see them interacting with the animals.
Julie Ball, thanks for joining us on Rutland Radio. So this Saturday from 11:30 through till 4, people can come and see the Rutland Farm Park and all the attractions that you've laid on.
Yeah, they'll be able to come and join in and have fun, and we hope to see everybody there. And thank you very much, Rob, for coming down.
Rutland Radio.
Hi, my name's Lucinda Rhodes, and I play Glinda.
I'm Ken Farrington, and I play the Wizard.
Hello, my name's Grace Adam Short, and I'm playing the part of the Witch.
Now, we're talking obviously about The Wizard of Oz here at Melton Theatre. The Christmas Panto, can you believe we're talking about it in September?
It's going to happen. It's going to come, yeah.
That is the thing, isn't it, with Christmas and with pantos as well?
It's on its way, and before you know it, it'll be here.
The preparation starts here, doesn't it? You're actually working on it more or less from now until you open.
Yes, it's a good day today because our producer's given out all the scripts, so we can really study our lines now and get the songs right. So we're prepared for opening night and seeing all you great people there.
Now, Ken, we were talking outside. You've done everything from Royal Shakespeare Company to not very much panto before.
I've done one panto before.
Grace, this new for you?
No, I'm a seasoned pantoer, to be honest. I think this is about my 10th or something. I had a few years off, had some children. Well, not some, just one. So baby will be in the dressing rooms. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, actually.
What do you think makes a good panto?
A great cast, which we all are. We all have great camaraderie with each other, and a good script and some great songs that you know. And I think the story is really important. And Wizard of Oz, it's a classic, and I don't think it matters what age you are. You know, if you're little or the grands can come, granddads can come, everyone can enjoy it. So it's a family thing. And Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without going to see a panto. I bring my kids along, you know, if I'm not in them, then I still take them to go and see one. It's a great time of year, I think.
Melton's got a long history of pantos. You get to actually say the line, do you not, where actually the shoes go together?
Yes. I haven't read the script yet, but you have. What did you think of the script?
I love the script.
But going back to what you just said about Melton Mowbray, I did panto here a couple of years ago in Melton Mowbray, and I absolutely adore it. The theatre's fantastic and the staff are fantastic. Our comic, Mrs. Stuart Earp, is a favourite here in Melton. So I'm hoping Michael from the theatre will buy us all pork pies and adult lemonade on the opening night. And really, that's one of the reasons why I'm back.
They've made me want to go.
Yes, you last had one in 1960.
1960, I was at the Phoenix Theatre, Leicester, for the opening. I was in the second production, I think it was there, with Anthony Hopkins. And then I was in the last production at the Haymarket, so I've opened one theatre and closed another in Leicester. But I mean, I came over here from Leicester to get a pie. My wife doesn't want me to be here because she knows I love pork pies.
You'll be fine. You just have to do a little run, sort of pre-performance.
I just will lie about it and say I haven't touched one.
No, that's probably best.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on Rutland Radio. It's really good to meet you. So I suppose really the message is just get tickets early, come and support the amazing shows that you're going to put on.
The message for me is get the script and learn the lines, and I'm singing for the first time too. Not a lot.
Are you?
Yeah.
Wow. So you never ended up breaking into song in Coronation Street?
No. Oh, yes, I did once in Coronation Street. Years ago, I had to do the Palladium tune. That was all. I just had to hum it.
Thank you so much for joining us on Rutland Radio. It's really lovely to meet you, and I look forward to seeing the show when it opens in December. Thank you.
See you then.
Bye.
Rutland Radio.
It's Rutland Radio, breakfast time. I'm Rob Pisani. Now, Uppingham Theatre this Sunday, you can, I suppose, be transported back to your school days and so much more. Gervase Finn is back in the area. Now, I know you've been to Rutland several times, in fact, to Uppingham Theatre before.
I've been to Uppingham before, Rob. Yes, good morning. And I've been to quite a few venues down there as well. There's a wonderful, is it Folk Museum?
Rutland County Museum.
That's the one I've been to, yeah, it was fantastic, yeah.
Now, I suppose actually the kind of show, it's very topical, isn't it, at this time of year, because, you know, as the schools go back, people think so much more about their school days, particularly if there's someone in the family who's going to a new school for the first time.
It's got to be about children and teachers and schools, going way back to when I started teaching, I suppose, 1970.
You must have loved your time actually going round schools, and going round as an inspector. It's such a different way of approaching it, isn't it? You know,
it was, but I've massive respect for teachers. I mean, it's a demanding, challenging, sometimes depressing and enervating sort of job. But it quite clearly for me is the best job you can do. The teacher changes lives. I do a bit of work for the Variety Club of Great Britain, and I was down in the big luncheon, which is held in London in a five-star hotel, and all the famous people were there. You know, Terry Wogan, it was a few years ago, and others. And as I walked in, the doorman said, "Oh, it's Mr. Finn, the general manager wishes to speak to you." So, I said, "I've probably read my books," has he? He said, No, he's not happy with you. And I go upstairs, and there's this man of about 50 in a pinstripe suit, silk tie. I said, "Did you want to have a word with me?" He said, "Yes, I'm not happy with you." I said, "Whatever have I done?" And he looked at me and smiled and said, "You didn't believe me when I told you the dog ate my homework, did you?" and I said, "You what?" He said, "Stephen, it's young Stephen Burford." I said, "Gosh, I remember when you were 11, Stephen." I said, "Haven't you done well?" He said, "Well, if I've done well, it's because I had fantastic parents and great teachers like you." So it makes it much worthwhile, that, Rob, you know.
It is amazing, isn't it? Because actually, when you do see your old teachers, you know, particularly those that you got on with, it takes you back there, and you know, they do help set you on the road for life.
It does. And I mean, I went back as the inspector to inspect my former infant school in Rotherham, a big council estate, and the smell had lingered, and so had my teacher. She was still there, Miss Greenhalgh, and I go in, she's near retirement.
Yes.
I go in and she said, "Oh, look who's walked through the door." She said, "Haven't you done well?" And then she said, "Stand up properly, Gervase, don't slouch." And I said, "It's Miss Greenhalgh." I said, "You're still here?" "Yeah," she said, "still here." She said, "And it's a funny world, Gervase, isn't it?" She said, "I taught you to read, and here you are checking up if I do it properly." She said, "I can't have done that bad a job." I said, "Miss Greenhalgh, I loved you. You were a wonderful teacher." "Really?" "Oh, yes." I said, "I loved coming to the infant school." She said, "Well, it's just as well you've said that, because I've not changed my methods." Why should she change her methods? We could all read, we could do mental arithmetic. It was just happy days, and teachers had a lot more freedom, Rob, to be imaginative and creative, and I think, than they ever do now.
Do people tend to comment when you stand up in front of an audience? Do they shout out? Does the show take itself in different directions?
No, they don't shout out. They're very, very well-behaved audiences. I've got to say my audiences tend to be more mature. I did have a front row of youngsters once who left after about 10 minutes because they thought they'd come to see Ricky Gervais.
Oh, well, never mind.
But my audiences tend to be more... My sort of, I suppose, style is the lady across the road, she's 84. She likes Dad's Army, Last of the Summer Wine, Heartbeat, The Royal. She doesn't want anything, that cutting-edge humour. She doesn't want four-letter words. She doesn't want any of that. And my stories are anecdotal, sometimes a bit poignant.
Gervais Finn, thanks for joining us on Rutland Radio. We're really looking forward to having you back in Uppingham this Sunday. I know that the show's been brought forward by a few weeks, so we really want to bang the drum and get people in for you on Sunday night at the theatre.
Yeah, OK, thanks very much, Rob, for speaking to me. I appreciate that.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio podcast.
And we're hoping for celebrations later for Miss Rutland. Nikita Atsapardi is live on the line from Leicester. Now, tell us about the big competition. Basically, you're going up against all the other counties, aren't you?
I am, yeah. There's 50 counties altogether. There's a lot of great girls here, so it's going to be a tough competition this year.
Now, this is, what's the title of it? Miss GB?
Miss Great Britain.
Mm-hmm. And what do you have to do then? Because you've been rehearsing for this already this morning.
Yeah, so we've got like a choreographed, is that the right word? Choreographed dance for opening round, and then there's bikini round and evening round. And then obviously the top 15 get selected and interviewed as well. So it's like a big deal, this pageant.
So how far through Miss Rutland are you then?
How far through?
Yeah, how many months has it been now for you?
It's been since May. I won my title in May.
And how are you finding it so far? Because you've done quite a few charity things, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been absolutely incredible. I mean, I've had so many different opportunities since I've won. It's just been great, really. I'd definitely recommend pageants to everybody. Do it, people.
Yeah, tell us how it works, because, pageants years ago had this really bad name, but it's so much more than actually parading down the catwalk now.
See, rather than it being like a whole, excuse my language, but like a...
No, please don't. Not on the radio.
Like a bit of a... Because everybody thinks it's... How can I say...
Yes.
Everybody thinks it's catty.
Yeah, a bit derogatory and rivalry between girls.
It's not. I mean, I've now got 50 new friends rather than 50 new enemies. It's amazing.
And what time do you actually get underway? You're over at Athena in Leicester, aren't you? What time does the show start for everyone?
The show starts at 7 o'clock, and the winner gets crowned at 11 o'clock tonight, as far as I know.
Wow, you've got a long day then, haven't you?
Yeah, it's a really long day.
What time did you start then?
7.
Right. And there you are, sort of in your glad rags, sort of rehearsing, ready for tonight.
We're all a bit tired, bless us.
Yeah, what time do you get any time to relax at all?
Yeah, I mean, we're stopping for breakfast soon, and we get lunch as well. So, yeah, we do get a bit of time to unwind and mingle, and, yeah.
Fabulous. Well, from all of us here listening this morning, we wish you the very best and hope to bring a title back to Rutland as Miss Rutland and possibly winning Miss Great Britain later tonight.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. Thank you ever so much.
Nikita, thank you very much for being on Rutland Radio this morning.
That's all right.
Rutland Radio.
It's Rutland Radio at breakfast time. I'm Rob Pisani. Now, I don't know whether you've heard, Rutland has something new in the police force, something that's never been tried before anywhere in the country to the extent that it's actually being tried here. It's part of a 3-month pilot, and when I saw PCSO Matt McDade online, because he has a Twitter profile, a Facebook profile, I wasn't entirely sure that he was real. But you are, aren't you?
I am very much real, yeah. I'm a real person, just on virtual as well.
Tell us how your role differs to the traditional role then. Is it very much social media based?
Yeah, it is social media based, so I'm going to be patrolling the virtual world. So I'm going to be on Facebook, on Twitter. In a sense, I'm trying to do what I would do out on the beat. So when I'm out on the beat, I'm walking around, I'm engaging with people, speaking to shops, people are approaching me, telling me about the problems. I'm going to try and do that online, but reach more people. So using social media, getting people to retweet, to comment, from all over Rutland, all over Leicester. Hopefully, I'll be able to reach more people than I would do walking about and give the same service, if not a bit quicker or better.
Now, we know that some of the police, for instance, PC Joe Lloyd, has a lot of conversations online, on Twitter, on Facebook, talking about various operations that are going on. That's still going to continue.
Yes, yeah. Joe's got a really, really good following, and a lot of people know Joe around Rutland, so hopefully I can add to that. And any issues that I'm, a certain specialist in, if I can help out with the cybercrime side, Joe will point me in that direction. And as you can see from Twitter already, Joe has been retweeting some of my things, and I'm working really closely with Joe to try and give the people of Rutland what they want.
You talk about cybercrime, and I know also you've been into Catmus College to talk about being safe online as well.
Yes, the principle of this is cyber is a massive world, and cybercrime is on the rise, and people are getting affected by it. So if I can go into schools, go into businesses, and there are a couple of talks I will be doing to local businesses about cybercrime, if we can give them the knowledge, hopefully it's going to reduce the demand in the future of the crimes from being committed.
I mentioned this is part of a 3-month trial. This is basically going to be measured, I suppose, in the response that you get. So I suppose you need to encourage people to engage with you as much as they can.
Yeah, it's a 3-month trial. So all I would say is that if you're unsure whether it's going to work or not, if you're unsure whether you like the idea, just give it 100%, give it what you can for 3 months, because if it doesn't work, then I can feed that back to the senior management and say, this doesn't work for X, Y and Z. But if it does work, it will be another weapon in our arsenal to combat either crime or to help the engagement and help the people with what they want.
So how much are you online then?
I've been told to be online as much as I can, so I'm very flexible. I'm online probably every day so far, and I've been following tweets, I've been following certain people, looking what's trending, looking what the people want, and trying to give information that people want to hear, because I want it to have a personality. I want people to approach me and not find it boring, find it interesting, but also find it helpful from a police side.
How do people actually get hold of you?
They can get hold of me on my Twitter, which is LPDigitalMatt, or on my Facebook, which is PCSO Matt McDade. And they can contact me on my email. That's on the Force website, so it's matthew.mcdade@leicestershire.pn.police.uk.
Very well remembered. I know it's a complicated address.
I had to think then for a second.
I know.
But if someone else has a certain social media site that they use, so for example WhatsApp, then by all means they can either direct message me on one of the social media sites and say, look, I would rather approach you on WhatsApp, and I will happily get that sorted, and I'll be able to contact them on that. I've been told, like I said, to be as flexible as possible and to use as much as I can. I think we're even trialling Skype as well, if anyone was interested in that.
It's quite interesting, isn't it? Because, as I mentioned, this hasn't been done anywhere before in the country.
Nope, not at all. It's kind of a pioneer, I suppose, yeah. I mean, the idea is that people are living their lives on social media, and they're doing a lot through the internet, and we as a police need to evolve, and we need to be able to touch that demographic, so that's what we're trying to do.
So for people who maybe wouldn't want to mention something to the police in the street, to come down to the council offices and actually chat to the police face to face, it's another way of them getting in touch with you.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. That is the perfect example. If people don't feel comfortable to talk to the police on the street, if they don't want to go into a police station, they can quickly send a message. If they've got a smartphone or app on the phone, it can be done in seconds, and it still keeps that security and the safety. No information will ever be sort of dished out, so it's a safe and secure way to do it.
Yeah, exactly. There's always direct messaging on all these things, isn't there? So you don't feel that your information is going to be read by loads of other people.
Exactly, yeah.
So do people add you as a friend on Facebook?
Yep, I've been trying to go into a lot of people's profiles and add them, and I've been on the Rutland Spotted site. I think it's Spotted in Rutland.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And I've been, trawling around the sites like that. They can add me as a friend, or they can follow me on Twitter, and I'll try and add them and follow them back. And by all means, if they want to tag me in anything, if they feel that I should be notified of it, I can happily do that.
PCSO Matt McDade of Rutland Police. Really good to meet you. It's nice to know that you actually exist more than actually on the screen, and thanks for joining us on Rutland Radio today.
Thank you very much.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
Well, here at the end of the Rutland Marathon with organiser Paul Cowling, another successful one for you.
Yeah, really, really pleased. It was great. Yeah, a great day.
Slightly cooler than last year, and actually slightly better times as well for some people.
Yeah, marginally cooler, which was really good because it was a scorcher last year. But the guy who won it, he took 13 minutes off of his time and won it again. Yeah.
It is a tough course, isn't it, as you said before?
Yeah, people assume it's going to be flat, and then they get here and they realise actually no. To be honest, the best part of the course is also probably the toughest, which is the peninsula, because the views are stunning, which is one of the best things about the marathon. But yeah, it's the hardest section by far.
And were people able to kind of make the decision halfway round, between the half and the full like last time, or did you redesign it slightly?
No, exactly the same. I think that's one of the nice things. There's no penalty, and people can drop down if they want. So if their times don't go to plan, or they have a bit of a nightmare when they're training, they can change, and we make it possible.
Tell us what you're up to next. Tell us firstly what an Ironman is. It's kind of like a really tough triathlon, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's the longest triathlon. It's a 2.4 mile swim, then 112 miles on the bike, and then a full marathon.
Wow. If you say it that fast, it doesn't sound like much, does it?
Yeah, it's a bit of a beast.
Now, tell us about some of the training you've been doing. You're in water. I read something about you were using some kind of mind over matter techniques, just before your body says, I don't think I can do that. Actually, maybe your body can.
Yeah, I think that Ironman is more about the psychology of it. It's all in your head. To try and comprehend it, you sort of go, that's not possible. But actually, if you go through the motions and you start to do it, it is very possible.
We should say also you have to do an awful lot of training to do this, no matter what your body said. Your body's your best kind of doctor, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And actually, the training's the tougher bit. On the race day, everyone's going, oh, well done, and it's a great event and there's a brilliant atmosphere and the adrenaline's going. But actually, it's the early starts and the cold, drizzly days that are the hardest. So
you did well last time.
Yeah, I've done all right over the last couple of years, yeah.
When is it?
I'm flying out to my next race on Friday, and then I've got 2 weeks to acclimatise, and then that's the big day, on the 8th.
And this is Hawaii?
Yeah.
Wow, I imagine that it must be hot.
Yeah, last year it was the hottest the race has ever been in 40 years, and it's hot in Hawaii anyway, so it was a bit of a beast. And the year before that it was the windiest it's ever been, so hopefully we'll get some nice conditions this year. I can get a better time.
Paul Cowling, thanks for joining us on Rutland Radio. Good luck on your race. And how many people did you have taking part in the Rutland Marathon today?
I'm not sure how many actually finished today, but we had about 650 signed up.
650 people running around Rutland Water this morning.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We're really well supported, and it's grown a little bit from last year, so we're over the moon. Yeah.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website, rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk.